flip-flops are edge triggered, and this edge triggering can be a positive edge triggering or a negative edge triggering, and it can be easily identified from the logic symbol by checking the clock signal. If the clock signal contains only a small triangle at the end, then we say that it is positive edge triggered. If we have a small round at the end of the clock, then we say that it is negative edge triggered. Triggering can be of two types, that is edge triggering and level triggering. In edge triggering, the output responds to the change in the input during the edges of the clock pulse. This can be of two types, that is positive edge triggering and negative edge triggering. In the case of positive edge triggering, the output responds to the change in the input only at the positive edge of the clock pulse. Negative edge triggering. If the output responds to the change in the input only at the negative edge of the clock pulse, then we say that it is negative edge triggering. A negative edge of the clock pulse means the end that is going from high to low. So that is represented by a small arrowhead in the given clock input. On the other hand, in lever triggering, the output state is allowed to change according to inputs when active level is maintained at the enable input. That is when enable input is active. There are two types of level triggering, that is positive level triggering and negative level triggering. In positive level triggering, the output of the latch and responds to the input changes only when the enable input is high. That is, in the given signal, when the enable input is high means it is shown by a small darkened line. SR latch is enabled only when the level of input E is high. Then we have a negative level trigger, that is the output of the latch if it responds to the input changes only when its enable is low, that is 0. Then we say that it is negative level triggered. Now we can see a brief introduction into how a waveform will be behaving for each of the flip-flops. Okay, so in the right side, you have shown a logic symbol for an SR flip-flop with a clock symbol where the clock is positive edge triggered. So the first waveform shows the clock signal where we have an arrowhead on the positive going edge. So that means that the flip-flop is positive edge triggered. And this clock symbol having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 peaks. And then input waveforms for S and R are assumed as shown here. So this is the assumption we make, that is, if this is the waveform of S and R, then what will be the output waveforms obtained for the Q. Okay, so here we know that it is positive edge triggered, and as a result we have drawn a small dotted line for each of the positive edge of the given clock. And one thing you have to note, the transition or the triggering will happens only on these edges, that is dotted lines. So consider the first clock pulse where in the first clock pulse in the positive edge we have the value of S as 0 and R as 0. And if both the values of S and R are 0, we know that the output will maintain at the previous state. Here we assume that the output is in the level high. So as a result, the Q state will retain in the level high until the next positive edge of the clock. And on the second positive edge of the clock, again if we check the value of S and R, S is 0 and R is 1. When this is the condition, then the output has to reset, that is it have to move from high to low until the next clock pulse. Again, if we consider the third clock pulse and if we check for the value of S and R, the value of S is 1 and R is 0. That means you have to set the flip-flop with the value 1. So the output waveform will transit from level low to level high. Okay, and then it will maintain in the high level until the fourth clock pulse. So the fourth clock pulse, again it check the value for S and R. S is high and R is 0. That is the flip-flop has to be set with the value 1. Previously it was at value high, and as a result it will remain same until the next clock pulse. At the clock pulse 5, again if we check the input waveform for S and R, the S value is 0 and R value is 1. That is, you have to reset the flip-flop. So for resetting the flip-flop, I have to change the state from high to low. So this is thus we obtain the waveform for Q. Q bar will be the complement of the waveform Q. Now we can see the output waveform for a JK flip-flop. Given the clock here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signals are there for the clock, and assume that the waveform for J and K are as shown here. Here we can see that the logic symbol depicts that the clock is a negative edge triggered clock. So we can see the clock signal itself a small arrowhead in the negative edge of the clock, that is the edge moving from high to low. So that is the negative edge. And if the given J and K waveforms are like this, what will be the waveform for Q? And since the given flip-flop is negative edge triggered, triggering will occur only at the negative edge of the clock signal. And for easily identifying that, a dotted line has been drawn on each of the negative edge of the clock. And so now assume that the Q output Q is at level high, and on the first negative edge of the clock 1, we can see that the value of J is high and K is 0. When J is high and K is 0, the flip-flop will be having the value high until the next edge, which is the negative edge of the clock pulse. Again, if you are checking the second clock pulse, a negative edge, we can see that the value of J is 0 and K is 1. If that is the case, then the flip-flop will move to the state 0, and it will remain at the state 0 till the next negative edge. So again, if you are considering the third negative edge, for checking the value of J and K, both are high. When both the values are high, then we know that the flip-flop will change from will be the complement of the previous state. So previous state here is the flip-flop is maintaining at the level 0. So when J is 1, K is 1, it have to move to the level high. So there is a transition from low to high when the value of J equal to K equal to 1, and the flip-flop will maintain in the level high until the next edge, which is the fourth clock negative edge. So in the case of fourth clock negative edge, if we again check the value of J and K, J value is 0 and K value is 1. If that is the case, then flip-flop has to maintain at the state low. So previously it was at the state high. So at the fourth negative edge of the clock pulse, the flip-flop will move from high to low. So thus we obtain the waveform for Q. For the clocked flip-flop we have discussed so far, that is the S, R, D, J, K, all these inputs are called the synchronous inputs because their effect on the flip-flop output is synchronized with the clock input. These synchronous control inputs must be used in conjunction with a clock signal to trigger the flip-flop. And most of the IC flip-flops also have one or more asynchronous inputs, and these asynchronous inputs affect the flip-flop output independently of the synchronous inputs and the clock input. These asynchronous inputs are called, or these asynchronous inputs can be used to set the flip-flop to the state 1 or 1 state, or reset the flip-flop to the 0 state at any time regardless of the condition at the other inputs. In other words, we can say that asynchronous inputs are the override inputs, which can be used to override all the other inputs in order to place the flip-flop in one state or the other. They are normally labeled as preset or DC set or PRE pre, and clear CLR or direct reset or DC reset. An active level on the preset input will set the flip-flop, and an active level on the clear input will reset it. The truth table as shown in the given figure, where when the value of both pre and clear are 0, then the flip-flop will be operating on a clocked operation. And when the value of pre is 0 and the reset is 1, without checking what is the value of the other synchronous input, the output of the flip-flop will be 0. When the pre is 1 and clear is 0, again without checking what are the inputs of the synchronous inputs, then the output Q will be 1. When both are 1, it's usually not used. One of the most common timing problems in synchronous circuits is the clock skew. In many digital circuits, the output of one flip flop is connected to uh, other logic gates or directly to the another flip flop, and both the flip flops are triggered by the same clock signal. The propagation delay of a flip flop or the delays of the intervening gates make it difficult to predict precisely when the changing state of one flip flop will be experienced at the input of another. The clock signal, which is applied simultaneously to all the flip flops in a synchronous system, may undergo varying degrees of delay caused by wiring components, and they may arrive at the clock inputs of different flip flops at different time. And this delay is called clock skew. If the clock skew is minimal, a flip flop may get clocked before it receives a new input, and this new input is derived from the output of another clocked flip flop. On the other hand, if the clock pulse is delayed significantly, the inputs to a flip flop may have changed before the clock pulse arrives. In these situations, we have a kind of race between two competing signals that are attempting to accomplish opposite effects, and this can be termed as time race. The winner in such a race depends largely on unpredictable environmental conditions or propagation delays. It varies from device to device. The potential timing problem in flip-flop circuits is shown by using the figure here. A typical situation where this type of potential problem occurs is shown in the figure, where the output of the first flip-flop Q1 is connected to the S input of the second flip-flop, and both the flip-flops are clocked by the same signal at their clock inputs, which is a positive going clock input, edge triggered. The potential timing problem is like this. Since Q1 will change on the positive going transition of the clock pulse, the S2 input of the second flip flop will be in a changing state as soon as it receives the same positive going transition. And this could lead to an unpredictable response as Q2, which is not the one we expect. The flip flop output will go to a state determined by the logic levels present at its synchronous control inputs just prior to active clock transition.